All right, even though I know only about 50 people will probably watch this, I decided I might as well keep the trend going and give my predictions for East versus West. The event is on January 21st, this Saturday, at, as far as I know, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time in the USA. First match is Coach Ray versus Doug Ehrlich. Doug is a very strong puller, but we haven't seen him compete since, I believe, 2019 WAL when he lost to Tony Kotowski at 170 pounds and got an injury. He was very thin for himself at 170. Too light, in my opinion. I think he's usually around 190 probably, and I don't know what the weight limit is for the match, but I think it might be at 187. Coach Ray looks solid. He's looked solid last year. He's a proven puller. Doug's proven too, but we haven't seen him lately. And he's less proven than Ray, obviously. If I had to give my prediction, I think Doug possibly might be stronger. But I feel like unless he can just, not saying his endurance is bad, but unless he can just go through Ray 3 times, I think Ray for sure has more endurance. And I don't know about speed. This one's hard for me to say for sure, but if I had to pick, I'll pick Ray. I'm not going to say it's a sweep. I picked Ray to lose to Bowen, and he beat Bowen impressively, so I can't pick against him this time, especially since we haven't seen Doug pull. I don't think very many USA pullers under 190 could beat Ray, maybe around 5, maybe. So unless Doug's top 5 USA, which at this time, until he proves it, I wouldn't put him in there. I think it's going to be a war, though. And my apologies again if I say any names wrong. Amit Yennerer versus Robert Baxter. This one, I didn't do my homework on these matches. All I know about Yennerer is that he lost to Robert Baxter at Worlds in 2021, and then he won Worlds in 2022. In 2021, he didn't even place, and Baxter won the class. In 2022, he won the class, and Baxter was second. But Baxter had a war with David Kappa. Now, I didn't do my homework, so I know obviously in the finals, Baxter was gassed. I don't know if he was tired when he met Yenner in the prelims or not. But if I just had to guess, I'm just guessing. I was kind of like Baxter. He's not going to go all the way over there to lose. But Yenner has the advantage of being from Turkey, so he doesn't have to travel. I'm gonna go straight biased pick and say Robert Baxter. I like Baxter; he's a cool guy. So, Effie Comic versus Beck Beckett. All I know, well, I know Effie very well, and Beckett, I know he won Worlds controversially, and but Effie did beat him first round, and ended up taking, I believe, third. I'm just going to go at Beck. The Kazakhstan guys don't come to lose, so. And he is the world champion, even though he did lose to Effie. I'd say he has to be the favorite. Ferret versus Corey West. Now, Ferret, we haven't seen him pull left-handed in a few years. I'm not sure when the last time was. Maybe 2017 or 18, if I had to guess. But he's looked good this year right-handed, and his left arm has historically been his better arm. That being said, I will take Corey West over anyone outside of the top 5, maybe top 4 even in the world left-handed right now, in my opinion. But it could be a good battle because Ferret primarily hooks, as does Corey West, and it could be a good power battle. I think it should be pretty close on speed, and they're pretty close to the same size. Well, Corey's actually quite a bit bigger. Maybe almost 50 kilos bigger, but 40, 50 kilos probably. Probably 50. They look close to the same size, though. They're probably the same frame size, the same similar heights, I believe. And it could be power to power. I'd say I'm going to favor Corey on that one. Chance Shaw versus David Arabili. This is a hard one to predict. I haven't seen David pull. I'm not sure if it was 2019, probably the last time I saw him pull. And I know he took second at European Championships at 110 kilos left-handed at least once or twice. I'm not sure right-handed was best placement as he might have taken the third. recently in the practice video, we saw him pin Levon in the hook. I don't know if Levon was going seriously or not. And just practice, but then Irakli beat David easily. I don't know what to take out of that, but I'm going to go, really it's 50-50. I'm going to go straight biased and pick Chance Straw. I'll admit that I'm biased, slightly. Although historically, or generally speaking, I am actually a traitor and cheer for the Europeans more, even though I'm an American. Mindaugas versus Nerdalot. So at Worlds, Nerdalot won, and Mindaugas was only 5th. But fresh Mindaugas met with Daniel Prokopchik and had a war and wore out. And then he lost to Aristo. Now, I'm not making excuses on Mindaugas' half, but this is what happened. So it's possible that Daniel was the best in the class and got tired, and Mindaugas might have been second best in the class and got tired, and then Nerdalot won. Now, I don't think that's what happened. I'm not taking any credit away from Nerdalot. I think he is the best in the world at this weight. But there is room for someone to think that that could be the case, and this will prove what's true. Also, styles make matches. I think Nerdalot's the best in the world, and style-wise, Mindaugas is basically all top roll, and he has good stamina. But I think Nerdalot's too quick, too strong, and I think even endurance-wise, he can hang with Mindaugas. So I don't, even if it's a war, I don't think that Mindaugas is necessarily going to outlast him. Nerdalot's quick, and he can pull in any position, really. And he is a multiple-time world champion. He's won worlds in 4 different weight classes. So he is really, really good. And I think this is actually, none of these matches I'm like completely sure about, but this would probably be one of the ones I'm most sure of. If it stops, I could see it being a war, but I'd be actually pretty surprised if Mindaugas wins. But hopefully he can stop him at least once or twice, and it can be a good match. I could see that happening too. I'm not calling a sweep, but if it is a sweep, I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd say 3-1, possibly 2. Now this next one, I'm very unsure about, and that's Zurab versus Porkchop. I just haven't followed Porkchop enough to know exactly how strong he is, but I know he's really strong. It's really going to come down to power is the way I see it, who's stronger, so I'm just going to pick Zurab because he's more proven. Gabby versus Barbora. Now, this one's hard to pick because we haven't seen Barbora tested in at least a couple of years. She just smashes everybody, so it's hard to, you can't really know exactly how strong she is. But in my opinion, Gabby is the strongest right-handed female arm wrestler of all time. So I will pick her until proven otherwise. But really, it's hard to say since no one's been close to these two. So, I mean, Sarah was a little bit close to Gabby, I guess, in the later rounds once Gabby wore out or whatever. But, yeah, really it's impossible to say for sure based off they just smash everybody. So, John Brzenk versus Irakli Jirakashvili. I don't know why, but I am like 100% sure that John wins this match. I think the only way to beat John is to be way stronger than him, or, Devin Larratt too could just bleed him out. That's another way, but like Devin's probably the only one that could do that, to be honest. So you either have to be way stronger than them, or I think the way to beat John is a quick top roll, but like I don't think Irakli is quick enough, and I don't think his wrist is strong enough, like his cupping strength. And once it goes to straps, I really don't think it's hard to top roll John in the straps unless you're just going to flash him, basically. And like Curtis Galley did, basically. But I don't think Irakli is as quick as Curtis Galley, and I don't think his endurance is good, and I don't think he is as technical. He's really a one-trick pony, and I think that John shuts his hand down in the straps and beats him with side pressure, basically. If it goes in the hook, John wins too. Not easily, but I don't think it's going to go in the hook because John can't put him in the hook. So unless Irakli hooks John, it'll go top roll to top roll. I think John just like with side pressure in the straps, whether it's like this or like if he keeps his wrist a little bit more, he's just going to have too much side pressure. And John says he's feeling good right now, and John usually downplays how good he is. So after having a stem cell injection, so if John says he's feeling good, I think John's going to be strong. Samushia versus Craig Tullier. This one I'd say is speed versus, I guess, endurance. I'd say strength endurance, but Craig's strong too. I can't say for 100% that Samushia is stronger than Craig. I think strength is pretty even, to be honest. This one's hard to pick because we haven't seen Craig pull any elite Europeans basically in years. In Samushia, he lost to Paul Lin, he beat Bodzadar, and he beat Prokopchuk. I'd say this is going to be, if I had to pick, I'm going to say Samushia. I think it's going to be back and forth, though. Samushia seems to get off to a slow start and then come back, except for with Paul Lin, which was his first match back in a couple of years. So he had some rust. Craig has a chance to flash him. And I think if it stops, Samushia has the slight endurance advantage. I don't think Samushia is going to top roll Craig. So stylistically, I'd say it's a good matchup for Craig. Because I think the way to beat Craig is to top roll and to be real, and whether you top roll or hook, you have to be really quick too to be able to stop him, and then you can beat him. And Samushia is not particularly quick, but I would say it's going to be back and forth, but I'll go 3-2 Samushia. Alijan versus Petrenko. This one I'm quite unsure about. I was very surprised at how easily Petrenko went through Zurab. And he also has beat Dadikian before at 210. They were both 210. Petrenko's probably 231 right now. Alijan's probably 220 maybe. Alijan won WAF World Super Heavyweight class. He did take one loss to one of his teammates, so he's not unstoppable, although he did win the class, and he's beat other really strong guys before, obviously. He's beat Zaranov, Morozov, and Morozov was not top 10 in the world yet, or not top 5 anyway. It's hard to say. I honestly think Petrenko would have won WAF too if he was in Alijan's shoes, so, but if I had to pick, I'm probably going to go Alijan, because I think he's slightly faster, and he has more endurance. Kazakhstan arm wrestlers don't lose either. I'm always going for the Kazakhstans, most of the time anyway. I think it could be, he's either going to take Petrenko's hand, and Petrenko might still put up a fight without his hand, but lose, and then Alijan has more endurance, I believe. If it goes in the hook, I'd go Petrenko, probably. But I think his hand won't be good enough. So Alijan's my pick. Arif Erdem versus Corey West. This one's very hard to pick. Arif took second at WAF. But I believe he will come in stronger now for reasons that are obvious if you know arm wrestling. Corey's on the rise. He keeps getting stronger all the time. Really, it's hard to say. It depends on how strong Arif comes in at. Last time we saw him compete at East versus West, he pulled Krasimir, and he smashed him. Corey West smashed Krasimir. No disrespect to Krasimir. He's a very strong puller. You can't really say they don't have any common opponents in the last, ever really, to be honest. For sure not in the past couple of years, though. It all comes down to if Arif can take Corey's hand. And if he can't, I think Corey wins. If he can, I think Arif wins. And experience favors Arif. I think strength probably favors Corey slightly. If I had to pick, I'm cheering for Corey all the way. I'm going to go... wait till the end of the video. I'll make my pick then. I'll go over all my picks. On paper, I'd say Arif should be the favorite, but like 55-45. Very, very hard to say. Arif has beat Levon before, too. How many pancakes has Arif taken since WAF was over? Not saying Corey's not on him either. Gennady versus Ferret. I go Gennady all the way. If Ferret wins after losing, only taking 4th at A1, Grand Prix, Russian Grand Prix. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I forget. Russian Grand Prix, I believe. If Ferret beats Gennady after that, it'll be weird. And it could happen. I'm not saying it's impossible, but he lost to Lajachuk, and Lajachuk's really strong. Lajachuk might give Gennady a run for his money, but Lajachuk had a hard time beating Lukyanov, who I don't believe he can't be top 10 or even top 15 in the world. And Gennady, in my opinion, is like unquestionably somewhere in that 5 to 8 range, probably around 6, 7. Style-wise, I think that they pull somewhat similar. They're primarily power pullers. They both can top roll, but prefer the hook. I think if they go on the hook, it's going to be a war, and I think Gennady has more endurance. I think speed is relatively close. If I had to give an edge to one of them on speed, maybe Gennady. So I see it being a good hook match with Gennady having the more stamina. Yeah, actually, I think that'll be a good match, but I think if Ferret wins, considering his losses at the Russian tournament, it'll be weird. But rankings have been weird in the last 2 years, so I wouldn't be shocked if Ferret wins, but I do pick Gennady all the way. In a war, though, I don't think it's going to be easy. You better win, so the rankings aren't complicated. Rustam Babayev versus Paul Lin. Paul Lin looks awesome lately. He's definitely world class, probably top 10 in the world at 210, in my opinion, if not really, really close. I want to see him versus Raymond Natsnovics, by the way. If Raymond is in the form that he was against Petrenko. But with that aside, Rustam we haven't seen compete since the top 8, 2019, when he lost to Kurdeka. But I think if Rustam is even 90% of his best shape, Paul Lin's in trouble. I think Rustam possibly could be the best in the world at under 210. He's strong. If he comes in, this is hard to predict for 100% because we don't know what shape Rustam's in, but if he comes in even 90% of his best shape, I think he's faster and stronger than Paul Lin. The one thing that I don't think he may be ahead of Paul Lin in is endurance, but I think it's probably close. So if endurance is even and Rustam has more strength and more speed, then he wins. And I don't think Paul is going to be able to top roll Rustam. I think it's going to be hook. If he tries to top roll Rustam should be able to force him in the hook fairly easily, in my opinion. And he's too fast and too strong. I'm cheering for Paul Lin, but I think Rustam wins for sure. Angrabayev versus Michael Todd. This is one of my favorite matches, to be honest. At 232 pounds, so Michael Todd has to cut weight. He had a bicep injury not long ago. He says it's feeling good now. I'm not on the Michael Todd train right now, so I'm going to have to go on Angrabayev. He seems to be the favorite by most arm wrestlers. I don't think Michael Todd can get in this press because if he goes to press, I think Angrabayev is going to take his wrist. I think that speed is close. Michael Todd is very fast, as is Angrabayev. And if Michael goes to his King's move, Angrabayev is very smart. He can pull in any direction. I believe he can figure out a way to win. And he has good endurance. So really, it's hard to beat Angrabayev. I don't really see Michael Todd being able to outlast him. I think Angrabayev is going to find a way through the King's move. I do think it's going to come down to a King's move. I don't think Michael Todd's going to be able to press. But I think it's going to be a war. Brutal war. Maybe the longest match of the night. Jerry Caderet versus Georgi Svetkov. Georgi won Worlds. He beat Arif for first. It wasn't easy. I believe he will be stronger than he was in his WAP shape for obvious reasons. He looks massive right now. And he says he's been training to beat Jerry style-wise. He has a plan. However, generally speaking, unless he's changed up a lot, I don't believe his style will be good against Jerry because you can't beat Jerry with a top roll. And I'm not saying Georgie has bad endurance, but I think Jerry has amazing endurance. Basically, I think Jerry's speed's maybe close, but I think Jerry's stronger. I think Jerry has more endurance, and he's going to win. I don't believe that Georgie is probably top 10 in the world, and I believe Jerry's top 5 in the world. Hopefully, Georgie can make it a war, but I don't see him being able to pin Jerry. I'll be quite surprised if he pins Jerry. Jerry looks massive and strong right now. And I don't believe that Georgie's as strong as Gennady was. /is. So again, my picks. Coach Ray over Doug Ehrlich. Robert Baxter over Amit. Paquette over Komek. Sorry, I have my list over here. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to go Corey West over Ferret. Left. Chance over David. I'm very unsure on that, though, but that is my pick. Nerdalot versus Mendagas. One of the matches I'm most sure of. Hopefully, Mendagas can stop him and make it a war. Zerab over Porkchop. Very unsure on that. Gabby over Bobora. Hopefully, it's a war. Brzenk for sure over Irakli. Samushi over Toulier in the back and forth match. Alajan over Petrenko. I'm going to go Corey West over Arif, but I will fully admit that I'm being biased, and Arif should be the favorite on paper, but I'm going Corey. Gennady over Ferret. Rustam over Paul Lynn. I will go Angerbayev over Michael Todd, and I will go Jerry over Svetkov. See everyone Saturday.